All right, we are live and the recordings have officially begun. So, I have some rather unfortunate news to share with you in case you haven't already heard. Over the weekend, Fisham County Police Department lost two of our very own. Detective Marie Atkins and Officer Derek Alexander were both found dead in their homes. They apparently took their own lives. Now, we don't have the autopsy reports yet, but we do have the crime scene reports that do show that both officers did indeed have gunshot wounds to the head that do appear to be self-inflicted. We also have full consent from both of their spouses, so there's no need for us to wait on any search warrants. Now, this is obviously a tremendous loss to both our community as well as our police department. It is extremely odd that both officers who worked so closely together would both decide to take their own lives in such a similar fashion within a 24-hour period. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that foul play is involved here, but yeah, we certainly can't rule it out just yet. Now, it is important to keep in mind that the people that we are interviewing today, they are not suspects. They are just simply people that are close to the deceased that might have some relevant information. That's it. We have Officer Alexander's wife here today, as well as Detective Atkins' husband and their daughter Samantha. And I also asked Officer Mark Campbell to speak with me today, seeing as though he's partners with Alexander and he also worked very closely with Detective Atkins. So I definitely want to get his take on things. As usual, you'll be able to watch the live interviews via the monitor that you're looking at right now, and then you'll be able to review any of the previously recorded media on the monitor that's to your left. All right, we'll get the interview started. I'll be back in just a bit. All right, we are live and the recordings have officially begun. So, I have some rather unfortunate news to share with you in case you haven't already heard. All right, Caleb, we are recording. Today is June 24th. I am Detective Martin Ruiz, badge number 7621, and with me here today is Caleb Atkins. So, Caleb, we'll start with you spelling your first and your last name for me, please.
Caleb Atkins, Calebatkins.
Thank you, and please acknowledge that this statement is being video and audio recorded and that you are consenting to this recording.
Yes, I am aware and I consent to the recording.
And lastly, please acknowledge that we have already gone over your rights and that you are willfully making this statement.
Yes, we have gone over my rights and I am doing this interview willfully.
Well, thank you. So, look, before we dive into anything, I just want to extend my sincere condolences to both you and to Samantha. Yeah, I can't even imagine what the two of you are going through right now. You know, Detective Atkins, she was and always will be a member of our family here, all right? And if there's anything that I or anyone here at the station can do for either you or for Samantha, yeah, man, please do not hesitate to ask, okay?
Thanks, Marty. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the least that we can do. So yeah, you know, we're catching up here. Are you still doing the stay-at-home dad thing?
Yeah. Still at it.
That's good. That's good. I think that Samantha is probably going to need you now more than ever. Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose you're right.
Yeah. Well, look, man. The reason I brought you down here today is that I am struggling to understand why Detective Atkins may have taken her own life. It just seems really uncharacteristic to me, and yeah, I feel like there must be some sort of like obvious signs that I overlooked or something.
No, Marty. I don't think there were any signs. It honestly makes no sense. And to be clear, I'm struggling to understand what happened here too.
So do you think that there may have been foul play involved?
Are you serious? Of course there's foul play, Marty. You and the entire force know Marie very well. Hell, she probably spent more time here than she did at home. There's no way that you can convince me that she took her own life. And I honestly can't believe you guys even think that's a possibility. I mean, what sort of mother would abandon their child like that? Definitely not Marie. That much I can say for sure. And the other thing that's tripping me up with this whole thing is the gun that she supposedly used to kill herself with.
Yeah, and what about it?
It's not hers, Marty.
It's not hers? How do you know that?
The only gun that Marie owned was the one your department issued to her, and that gun was, and still is, locked in a gun safe in our bedroom.
Well, it is possible that she could have owned other firearms. I mean, look, a lot of the officers here at the station, they own various different firearms. It's actually pretty common, Caleb.
I would have known if she owned other guns. I'm telling you, the only gun she owned was the one you guys gave to her. What, are you saying she's hiding guns around the house or something?
I don't know, Caleb.
Well, she wasn't.
Okay, so let's say that she did not take her own life. What reasons would someone have for killing her and then covering it all up by making it look like as if it were suicide?
Marty, she's a detective. She's been involved in getting a shit ton of people locked up. There could be any number of people that wanted to get some revenge.
Yeah, that is a possibility. I can't argue with that, man.
No, I'm not saying this is what happened, but a few days before Marie was killed, I overheard her talking with your CSI guy, Sean Hamill. They were talking about Daniel Hernandez, a guy she investigated about 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know if you remember, but she played a key part in his conviction.
Yeah, I do remember that case for sure. Yeah.
Well, did you know that Daniel Hernandez was recently released?
No. Actually, no, I did not know that.
Well, he was. And from the sounds of Marie's conversation with Sean that morning, she ran into Hernandez somewhere in public. It sounded like they had a pretty severe altercation. And I don't know if you remember, but Daniel Hernandez never confessed. According to him, he was completely innocent.
So you think that Daniel was holding some sort of a grudge and that he killed her out of an act of revenge?
I don't know, Marty. But I do know that Marie did not kill herself. And if I were you guys, he would certainly be someone I would want to talk to. That's all I'm saying.
Sure. All right, well, look, before we go down that path, I have a few things that I do need to clear up with you first, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, for now, let's go under the assumption that Detective Atkins did indeed take her own life. Can you think of any reasons why she would do so?
I already told you, no, I can't think of any reason.
And everything was fine with her here at work?
Yes. I mean, she had her usual stressors that come with the job, but nothing out of the ordinary.
And home life, that was all fine too?
Yeah, of course. Things were how they've always been.
All right, well, look, Caleb, I hate to ask this question, but you understand that I have a job that I need to do. So, were the two of you having any sort of marital issues?
Look, I understand why you need to ask that. The answer is no.
Okay. All right, so look, according to the crime scene report, Detective Atkins, she was killed at approximately 11:30 a.m. on Saturday, June 21st. Now, you called 911 at approximately 1:30 p.m. that same day. This was after you had arrived home and discovered the body. Is all that sound correct?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay, so then where were you prior to coming home?
I remember dropping Sam off at work around 10, and then I went to the farmer's market on Central, walked around, bought some stuff, talked to a few vendors, and then I went back home.
Is there anyone that can corroborate this? Maybe one of those vendors?
I mean, I guess it's possible, but I can't guarantee anyone would remember talking to me that day. You know how that place gets? It's super busy. I'm sure they talked to tons of people that day.
Sure. Maybe, I don't know, some credit card transactions then? Maybe that can corroborate this?
No, I always use cash when I go to the farmer's market. It keeps me from spending more than I need to. Look, I understand why you need to ask these questions, but I can assure you I was at the farmer's market during that time.
All right, fair enough, Caleb, fair enough. Okay, so then after you made this 911 call, what did you do?
I called Sam and I told her that there was an emergency and that I would need to pick her up early. And then when I could, I drove over to the movie theater where Sam works, picked her up, told her what had happened, and Sam didn't want to go back to the house. Neither did I, so we checked into Liberty Hotel. And Sam stayed there for the rest of the day, and even though I didn't want to go back to the house, I needed to pick up some clothes and toiletries for us, so I did that, and then back to the hotel, and that was it for the day.
And what about Sunday? This was the day that Officer Alexander died.
We stayed in the hotel the entire day. Sam slept for most of it. I was the complete opposite. I was up the whole time watching TV, trying to take my mind off of things.
Did you guys get any food that day?
We ordered in. I didn't have the energy or the right mindset to go out.
Sure. And what'd you guys get?
Pizza and soda from Sal's.
Do you know around what time that may have been?
I don't know. Late afternoon, early evening? I'm not sure. But I did use my card for that, so you can track that if you really need to.
Okay. All right, well, Caleb, is there anything else that you feel I should be aware of?
No. I need you guys to find out who did this.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, thanks, Caleb. Let's take a short break, okay?
Yeah, of course.
All right, there's quite a bit to digest there. Now, he clearly seems to think that someone killed his wife, and he could very well be right. Now, I am a little concerned that he doesn't really have an alibi or anything that proves his time at the farmer's market, which he claims to have been at during the time of his wife's death. Now, I'm not saying that he's lying, but if he were lying, then what would be the reason? The only thing I can think of is that he would be somehow connected to his wife's death in some way. And if that were the case, then he would have some reason for wanting her dead. Now, before we really explore this scenario, we need to evaluate whether or not he was telling the truth about his relationship with his wife. According to him, their marriage was fine, which means we really don't have a motive here. But if he was lying, this would be a very important step in figuring out the truth of what happened to Detective Atkins. We do need to be careful here, though. Remember, this guy just lost his wife. If we accuse him of lying about his relationship with her, and that isn't the case, well, then that's going to be pretty damn shitty of us. All right, take some time to really think this through. I'll proceed based on your feedback. Give me a call when you're ready to make a decision. Talk to you soon. So, you think he's telling the truth? You don't think there's any problems with his marriage or relationship with his wife? Yeah, I guess you might be right. We'll roll with it. As always, I appreciate your input. All right, let me get back in there. All right, this is a continuation with Caleb Atkins. So look, I do appreciate you coming down here today and for your patience as we try to figure out everything that's happened here. Appreciate all that.
Of course. Anything I could do to help.
Yeah, well, you definitely have been helpful. You've given me a lot more info to take into consideration, and I appreciate that. So with that said, is there anything else that you feel I should be aware of or anything else that might be relevant to what happened to your wife or with Officer Alexander?
No. Like I said earlier, I just need you guys to find the asshole who did this. And I want you to make him pay.
Okay. Now, you are aware that we're doing our best, right?
Yes. Yeah, no, I know you are.
All right. Well, Caleb, you are free to go home. So, again, I appreciate your time.
Sure. It's no problem at all.
All right. Okay, one interview down for the day and on to the next. I'm going to bring in Megan Alexander, Officer Alexander's wife, in here next. Hang tight. Okay, we are officially recording. Today is June 24th. I am Detective Martin Ruiz, badge number 7621, and with me here today is Megan Alexander. So, Megan, we'll start with you. Please spelling your first and last name for me.
Meganalexander.
Thank you, and please acknowledge that this statement is being video and audio recorded and that you are consenting to this recording.
Yes, that is correct.
And lastly, acknowledge that we have already gone over your rights and that you are willfully making this statement.
Yes, that is also correct.
All right, well, thank you, Megan. So, look, before we dive into all of this, I want to first extend my sincere condolences to you, Megan. Now, obviously, what has happened is extremely tragic. And I just want you to know that our department and me personally, Megan, okay? We are here to support you with whatever it is that you need, okay?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Detective.
Absolutely. It is the least that we can do. So, yeah, there's been a lot to take in with the events that have occurred over the past few days, and I'm trying to piece together why two of our fellow officers, why they would have taken their own lives, and why so close in time to each other. And yeah, Megan, this is where I can really use your help.
Of course. That's why I'm here.
And I appreciate that. So, I guess we'll start with the glaring question. Why do you think that Officer Alexander, your husband, why do you think that he took his own life?
I've given it a lot of thought. And I can't honestly 100% come up with any specific reason.
So, do you think that suicide is exactly what happened?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, do you think that foul play may have been involved?
I don't think so.
Okay, so then you must think that it was actually suicide.
I do think it's possible, yes.
And why would you think that?
I mean, you know how it is, detective. Being an officer is hard.
Yeah, that is very true. So, did your husband exhibit any signs that the job was too stressful or too demanding? And I mean, to the point that it would actually push him to take his own life.
At times, yes. I mean, it was never a constant thing. And he always did his best to hide how he was truly feeling. But yes, I do believe I saw some signs over the years.
Did you ever talk to him about any of this or, check in from time to time?
To be honest, warning signs are much easier seen in hindsight. During the day-to-day, these honest conversations or check-ins, as you put it, they just never were a priority. And I'm really regretting that.
Megan, were the two of you having any marital problems?
What couple doesn't have any problems? I mean, we were no exception. Marriage itself is hard, especially when you're married to someone in law enforcement. I mean, we had our share of problems, just like any other couple. But it was nothing that was severe or out of the ordinary.
Now, Megan, if I remember correctly, you work for yourself. Is that still correct?
Yes, I'm a CPA, and I work mostly from home.
Do you work a lot of hours?
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
So I would imagine with two steady sources of income that the two of you weren't experiencing any sort of financial struggles or any stress related to money. Is that right?
We had no stresses or struggles related to our finances. We were doing just fine in that department.
So if your marriage was fairly normal and the two of you weren't experiencing any sort of financial struggles, then you must think that it was his actual job that pushed him to take such extreme actions.
Yeah, it's possible. And to be completely transparent with you, his job was putting a higher level of stress on him this past year than I had ever seen before. There was more distance between us. But I didn't think it was this severe. And obviously I was wrong.
Well, I do appreciate your honesty, Megan. So, look, for argument's sake, let's explore that there actually was foul play involved, okay? At least for now. Now, if we go down that path, then I, of course, need to do my due diligence, which means that we do need to account for your time during the deaths of both of the officers, right?
Yeah, I understand.
So let's start with Saturday, June 21st. Now, that was the day that Detective Atkins was killed. So what were you doing Saturday morning between 11 a.m. and noon?
That was a pretty simple day for me. Derek and I were home the entire day, and I can say that for sure because we spent most of the morning cleaning from 10 a.m. to noon. And then we just had a lazy day, watching sports and movies. That was it.
So the two of you did not go out the entire day?
No, not at all.
And I'm assuming the only person that can corroborate this would be your husband, who is now deceased. Is that correct?
Unfortunately, yes. I mean, I don't see how anyone else would know that we spent the entire day at home.
Sure. Okay, so what about the next day, specifically during the morning hours?
Well, given the nature of what happened the day before, Derek and I didn't really sleep. So I got up at 6 a.m. I just did my normal routine, and Derek stayed home. I got coffee at Nick's on 4th Street, and then I drove to Monument Trails. I did my usual hike, which lasted 2 hours. And then I drove home. And that's when I found Derek's body and called the station.
Now, you mentioned a hike. Was there anybody with you on that hike?
No, it was just me.
All right, now I do also need to learn a little bit more about the firearms that your husband may have owned. So, do you know if he owned any firearms besides the one that was issued by our department?
Yeah, he also had a hunting rifle.
Okay, so it was just the hunting rifle and the department issued firearm, is that right?
That's correct.
And where did he keep these firearms?
The hunting rifle was in a case in our closet, and the work gun was in a drawer in our nightstand.
In your nightstand? Why the nightstand?
Paranoia, I guess. I don't know. I never really questioned it. It probably just made him feel safe. I don't really know.
Now, was that particular firearm, was that locked up?
No, it wasn't.
So, in theory, then anyone could have had access to that firearm, right?
Well, no. It was just Derek and I at the house.
But hypothetically, if someone were to enter your home without your knowledge, right, then technically they would have been able to have access to that firearm, right?
Yeah, if they knew exactly where it was, I guess technically it's possible.
All right, well, Megan, is there anything else that you want to share or anything else that you think I should know that can help me better understand what's happened here?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. All right, so we will take a short break. I'm going to ask that you just wait here for a bit, okay?
Okay.
All right, I will be back, Megan.
All right, we got to hear her take on things. Now, I gotta say, I'm a little shocked that Officer Alexander didn't keep his firearm secured. Keeping it accessible like that completely goes against the department's protocol. But I guess there's not much that we can do about that, is there? Now, it is interesting that she has a different take than Caleb and thinks that suicide is actually possible. That said, it was kind of hard for me to get a read on her. Was she being honest about that? If she doesn't actually believe that Officer Alexander took his own life, then we would need to understand why she would lie about that. Now, that is, of course, if we think she was actually lying. Again, this is tricky. Accusing her of lying about something so sensitive can really come across as being extremely disrespectful. But At the same time, if we think she's lying, yeah, we do need to press her on that. Look, I'm sorry to put this weight on your shoulders, but I do need your take here. Does Megan really believe suicide is a possibility? Take your time and get back to me. I'll proceed based on what you think. All right. Talk soon. Hey. Okay, so you think she's lying. You don't think she believes her husband committed suicide, huh? I guess I can see why you might feel that way. I do appreciate your instincts and help with making this decision. Now, let's hope it actually pays off. Otherwise, this could get pretty ugly. All right, let me get back in there. Bye.
All right, this is a continuation with Megan Alexander. So, look, Megan, after taking some time to, put all of this into perspective, I got to be honest, I'm having a very difficult time believing that you actually think your husband took his own life. I am.
And why would you think that?
Well, we can call it a detective's intuition. That and coupled with the fact that, well, Megan, you never once entertained the idea that foul play might actually be involved. Like, never once. If I were in your shoes, I would want to explore every possible option. Literally everything. So, come on, Megan, can you tell me the truth? Do you actually believe that your husband killed himself?
I don't know. It's possible. But no. I don't think that he actually killed himself. I don't.
And why not?
Because he's the most strong-willed person that I know. He's been through so many challenges and lots of adversity. And he just always met it head on. He didn't run from anything. I mean, you know him. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, Megan, I completely agree with everything that you just said. But, Megan, what I don't understand is why you lied to me about that.
I don't know. I'm sorry. But there is a lot going on, and this is very overwhelming for me. I just want it to be over. And I thought that if I accepted the initial police report, that it would keep it from just being dragged out.
Well, look, Megan, I do appreciate you being honest with me now. I do appreciate that. But unfortunately, yeah, as you expected, if we're not dealing with a case of suicide here, then yeah, it certainly makes things more complicated. It does.
And that is what I was afraid of.
Yeah. All right, Megan, be honest here. Is there anything else that you've lied to me about? Is there anything else that you're not fully disclosing?
No, Detective.
Okay. All right. All right, Megan, we're going to call it a wrap for today, okay?
Okay.
Well, your instincts were correct. She is not buying the suicide. But she did lie, which is definitely not a good look at all, especially if there's actual foul play involved. Yeah, she is definitely worth keeping an eye on. Let's continue with the rest of the interviews and we'll revisit this later. All right. Bye.
Okay, Samantha, we are recording. Today is June 24th. I am Detective Martin Ruiz, badge number 7621, and with me here today is Samantha Atkins. So, Samantha, can you go ahead and please spell your first and your last name for me?
SAMANTHAATKINS.
Thank you. Samantha? So, look, I understand this is probably a little intimidating for you, right? You're here at the station and you're being interviewed, yeah?
Yeah, a little bit.
No, look, I want to make sure you understand that you are not in trouble at all, okay? I just simply need to gather as much information as I can just so I can better understand everything that's going on. That's all. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So let's go over some basic formalities. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So first, I just want you to acknowledge that this statement is being video and audio recorded and that you consent to this recording.
Yes, I acknowledge and consent.
Okay, and I do need you to acknowledge that we have already gone over your rights and that you are willfully making this statement.
Yes, we did, and I am.
All right. Look, yeah, I understand this is a very, very difficult time for you, okay? And I know that answering some of these questions is going to be really difficult. So look, at any point in time, if you want to call it quits, you just say the word, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So, look, we'll start with some easy questions here. So, why don't you tell me how your day went on Saturday, June 21st? Now, that was the day of your mom's death.
Like the whole day?
Sure, yeah.
I got up around 9:30. I showered, ate breakfast, and then my dad drove me to work.
And where do you work?
Central Street Cinema.
So, Samantha, can you remind me, how old are you?
I'm 15.
So you're 15 and you already have a job?
Yeah.
Oh, is this your first job?
Yes.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. All right. So, what time did you work that day?
Well, I was supposed to work a 10 to 5 shift, but I left early. My dad came and picked me up like a little before 2, I think. When I got in the car, that's when he told me what happened to my mom. After that, we drove to the Liberty Hotel and checked in there, and yeah, that was pretty much it. We stayed there the whole day.
Okay. So, what about the next day? That would be Sunday, June 22nd.
Nothing. I was at the hotel all day with my dad.
Did you sleep in by any chance?
Yeah, I did. Truthfully, I think I slept most of the day. Yeah, I don't think I got up until the afternoon.
So, Samantha, what do you think happened here? I mean, do you have any ideas why your mom may have taken her own life?
No, we actually had a big trip coming up. We were both really looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, and what was the trip?
We were supposed to go to Thailand.
You guys were going to Thailand. Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah, it was going to be my first trip out of the country.
And what was the reason for the trip?
Just a vacation. My mom went there before, like, years ago, and she always told me how cool it was and just made it seem like a pretty awesome place, and she always talked about how much she wanted to go there with me once I got older.
Was your dad, was he also going with you guys?
No. He wasn't very interested in going to Thailand. So my parents didn't think it would be worth spending money on another ticket, which is why this whole thing doesn't really make sense to me. I don't understand why she would plan this whole trip and get me all excited and then just go off and kill herself. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Yeah, and that is a really good question. Did your mom show any signs of depression or anything like that in recent times?
No, not to me at least.
Samantha, do you think that your mom actually killed herself?
What do you mean, isn't that what happened?
Yeah, that is the theory at the moment, yeah. But I want to know, do you think that's what actually happened?
Honestly, no. I didn't want to, like, insult you guys because I know you're all doing your best, but her killing herself makes no sense to me.
So then what do you think may have happened?
I don't know.
You don't have any theories or any possible scenarios, anything that may have come across your mind?
No, I have no idea what could have happened. But it doesn't make sense that she would kill herself, and I know how stupid that sounds. Okay, I've
No,
thought about
it
it.
doesn't sound stupid. I wouldn't say that. No, it doesn't sound stupid at all. To me, that sounds like you were trusting your instincts. That's what that sounds like, and that totally makes sense, and I get it.
Yeah, I guess that's the best way to put it.
All right, well, Samantha, is there anything else that you want to share? Anything else that you think might be helpful?
No, I can't think of anything.
Okay. We'll take a short break. Can I grab you a drink or a snack, anything?
No, thank you. I'm okay.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'll be right back, all right?
All right, we got to meet Samantha. Now, I really didn't like having to put the kid through the ringer like that, but I guess it is what it is. We need answers. Now, that said, Samantha did answer everything that I asked. Samantha also made it clear that she doesn't believe her mom committed suicide. I do think Samantha is telling the truth about that, but what I'm questioning is if she's telling the truth about not knowing what actually happened. What do you think? You think Samantha has some ideas or thoughts about what may have actually happened with her mom, and that she's hiding that information from us? I mean, it is possible. Think very carefully here. Remember, this is a kid that we're dealing with. I don't want to accuse them of lying unless we really think that's the case. But if she is lying, then that's something we really need to sort out as well. You're good at making these types of judgments. So you let me know what you think, and I'll go with that. Call me back once you know how to best proceed. Talk soon. Hey. So you think Samantha's telling the truth? You don't think she knows anything about what may have happened to her mom, huh? You know, I gotta say, I feel the exact same way. It doesn't seem like she has anything to hide. I think you're right. Samantha is being completely honest with us. Okay, let me get back in there and dismiss her. I appreciate your help once again. Okay.